Good morning. In today's lecture, we will start our second unit. Let's try to look at our second unit syllabus. Intensity transformations and spatial filtering. In intensity transformations, spatial filtering, we are going to learn some background work, some basic intensity transformation functions, histogram processing, fundamentals of spatial filtering. That means how to perform the spatial filtering and smoothing spatial filters we have. Some of us sharpening spatial filters we are going to learn. Combination of combining some spatial enhancement methods. Similarly, filtering in frequency domain, some preliminary concepts, and basic filtering in frequency domain, image smoothing using the frequency domain filters, image sharpening using frequency domain filters, and selective filter. So, second unit we can divide into two parts. One is spatial domain as well as a frequency domain. So whatever the operations which we are performing in the spatial domain, the same operations we are going to perform in the frequency domain. So please try to concentrate on the intensity transformations in spatial domain. Similarly, filtering in spatial domain, so that we can easily understand how to perform the filtering in frequency domain. So there is some relationship because in spatial domain we are having smoothing filters, we are having sharpening filter. The same filters we can use in frequency domain also. So smoothing filter for the purpose of smoothing, for the purpose of performing the smoothing on the images we are using. Similarly, sharpening filter for making the image sharpen, we are using the sharpening filter. The same filters we can use in spatial domain as well as in frequency domain. Okay. So in today's class, we will start our second unit, that is intensity transformations and spatial filtering. Intensity transformations and spatial filtering. Image enhancement is the process of enhancing the quality of a given image for the purpose of analysis. By improving the quality, we can analyze the image accurately. So intensity transformations are mainly focused on highlighting the specific range of intensity levels in an image. We can call it as a region of interest. Sometimes it is necessary to enhance only the region of interest, and we need to suppress the features that are present in an image. For example, if you take any CT scan image, CT scan image is mainly meant to identify the tumors which are present on the human brain. So in this case, our region of interest will be identification of the tumor. So we need to enhance the areas where the tumor is present. That is our region of interest, ROI. And the remaining part of the images or the remaining part of the image brain need to be suppressed. The term spatial domain refers to the image plane that contain aggregate of pixels composed of an image. Aggregate of pixels composing of an image. So spatial domain methods are procedures that are operated directly on these pixels of an image. So now we will see how to perform the operations on the images. Image means group of pixels. So directly we can perform the operation. Directly we can modify the pixel values in spatial domain. The spatial domain means it is an image plane that contains aggregate of pixels composing of an image. In the subsequent slides, you can see what is the spatial domain. Generally, to process an image, first we need to transform an image into some transform domain. Later, by performing the inverse transformation, we need to bring the result back into the spatial domain. Here, some image enhancement methods are there. One is spatial domain methods. We can call it as a image plane. techniques are based on the direct manipulation of pixels in image. So image, we can perform the enhancement on the image by direct manipulation of pixels in an image with a technique called spatial domain methods. In frequency domain methods, we are using a techniques based on the modifying of Fourier transformation of an image. And some methods are there, which are the combination methods. In these combination methods, we can use spatial domain as well as the frequency domain method. That is, we can manipulate the pixels directly, and also sometimes we are modifying the Fourier transform of an image along with the direct manipulation of the pixels. That is combination method. So what is a spatial processing? Two categories, principal categories of spatial processing are intensity transformation, spatial filtering. In spatial processing, we are performing these two category of operations: intensity transformation, spatial filtering. Intensity transformations are operated directly on a single pixel of an image for contrast manipulation or image thresholding. Spatial filtering deals with the operations such as image sharpening, image smoothing by working in the neighborhood of a pixel in an image. Let us see the basic intensity transformations and the spatial filtering. The term spatial domain refers to the image plane. In this picture, you can see our image plane. In this image plane, you can see x-axis and y-axis. X and y indicates spatial coordinates. So x-axis, y-axis is a spatial plane. We can say spatial domain. It indicates image plane. So we can represent the image pixels on a coordinate convention form, that is on the coordinates x, y. Here you can see some pixels are there in the boxes. In the center of the pixel we represented as x comma y. You see the image f, and it consisting of some aggregate of pixels. The plane that contain the pixels of an image is called spatial domain. The plane that contains aggregate of pixels is called an image. The spatial domain methods are the procedures that are operated directly on the pixels. The spatial domain methods are procedures that are operated directly on the pixels. Okay. Now we are going to understand what is spatial domain and what is spatial filtering, what is intensity transformation. These are the basics we have. The term spatial domain refers to the image plane. The spatial domain is nothing but an image plane. What is that image plane? The plane that contains pixels of an image. That is an image plane. That is nothing but our spatial domain. Spatial domain methods. What are the methods which we are performing on the in spatial domain? Are the methods or the procedures which are operated directly on the pixels. Means directly we are modifying the pixel. We are adding two pixels together. We are subtracting two pixels from two pixels together. Like that, directly we can modify. We are not modifying the pixels in indirect manner. That means first we need to perform some transformation. After that, we are modifying. Again, we are performing inverse transformation. Like that, we are not doing anything. Okay, in spatial domain, directly we are modifying the pixels. Okay. Next. Spatial domain process will be denoted with an expression g of x comma y, which is equal to t of f of x comma y. Here f of x comma y is the input image, g of x comma y is the output image, or we can say is a processed image, and t is an operator on f, which is defined over a neighborhood point, neighborhood of a point x comma y. The operator t can also be applied to a single image or to a set of images. We have a neighborhood such as a circular neighborhoods, square neighborhoods, rectangular neighborhoods. So in generally, we are considering the rectangular neighborhoods. The rectangular neighborhoods are more popular than the remaining neighborhoods. Okay? And in this image, you can see it is a 3 by 3 neighborhood. 3 by 3 neighborhood that consisting of total 9 boxes. You can clearly examine 9 boxes. The 9 boxes represent, each box represent 1 pixel. So it has a 9 pixels. So a 3 by 3 neighborhood will have a group of 9 pixels only. And the center of that group of 9 pixels is represented with x comma y, a shaded part of that 9 boxes. Okay. So it is actually what is the difference between the image and a neighborhood? Okay. So we can say that the neighborhood is the sub image that is present in the image. Okay. So group of sub images will give you an image. You can treat like that. So neighborhood means it is a part of the image, small part of the image. Okay, neighborhood is the small part of the image. We can treat that. And whenever we are performing the filtering operations, we need to take the neighborhood operations. Next, coming to the intensity transformations. Intensity transformation are also called as a mapping transformation functions. The simplest form of transformation T is when the neighborhood of size 1 by 1, that is a single pixel. So when there is a single pixel, if you want to transform that single pixel into another pixel, then we can say that it is a simplest operation. In this case, G depends only on the value of f at x comma y, and T becomes a gray level, also called as intensity or a mapping transformation function of the image of the form S equal to capital T of R, where small r is the gray level value of f of x comma y, that is the input image at a point x comma y, and S is the gray level of the output image G of x comma y at a point x comma y. Now you can see here are two figures. First figure S equal to T of R, and second figure is also S equal to S equal to T of R. And first figure is for contrast stretching function. It indicates a contrast stretching function, and second indicates a thresholding function. Here in this first image contrast stretching function, the intensity levels we are moving, the transformation curve is moving from dark to light. So there is a variation, some values which are present in between dark and light also. But in case of thresholding function, only two levels are there, dark level and light level. Only two levels are there. Okay, dark and light. That means dark and bright. Only two intensity levels we have in the threshold. So generally, thresholding function will create a two-level images called binary images. If you take a single threshold image will single threshold value will create an image which is a binary image, a two-level image. Okay. If you take two threshold values, means multiple threshold values, like two threshold values, it can generate a three-level image. Okay, a three-level image. So let us try to understand what is this contrast stretching transformation curve and what is this thresholding function. So in this contrast stretching transformation function, if T of R has the form as shown below, the effect of applying the transformation to every pixel of F to generate the corresponding pixel in the G will produce the higher contrast image than the original image. So that means whenever we apply this contrast stretching transformation on an image, what will happen? To darken the levels which are below M of a original image. You can see in this image on x-axis we have a R value. R indicates our input image. Y-axis indicates S equal to T of R. Here that T is a transformation. That transformation is the contrast stretching transformation function. So on x-axis we have a input intensity levels, on y-axis we have a output intensity levels S. So how this intensity values, input intensity values on x-axis will be transformed into output intensity levels means the first thing is the darken the levels below M. So here we have a threshold, we set at some threshold small m. Below that threshold, the levels will be darkened. Brighten the levels above m in the original image. So contrast stretching is a simple image enhancement technique that improves the contrast in an image by stretching the range of intensity values. Here, how it is performing, the values below this m are darkened. The values above this m will be brightened. This is a function of contrast stretching transformation. With this contrast stretching transformation, so we can enhance the image quality. The contrast of an image can be improved. Now coming to the thresholding, it is a limited case of contrast stretching. It produces only two-level images called binary. Some fairly simple and powerful. Now see, enhancement at any point and an image depends only on the gray level at that point. Here, what are the values below this m? All values will be dark only. The values above this m will be bright. So here is a sharp fall at m. Exactly whatever the sample values are up to this m, all values will be dark only. The remaining values will be bright. But here, so there is a slowly conversion, that is from dark to light. Dark to light means you may expect the combination of dark and light at one point, that is gray. So dark to gray and gray to light you can expect in contrast stretching. Whereas in case of thresholding, we cannot expect the gray. Only we have two levels, either black and white, that is dark and light. So image enhancement we can perform through point processing. So what is point processing? Point processing is one of the technique of a spatial domain methods for image enhancement. The various methods of point processing techniques are image negative, log transform, power law transform, contrast stretching, gray level slicing, bit plane slicing. These are all the important point processing techniques for image enhancement. We will concentrate on the image negative, how the image negative will be created. Image negative is nothing but image inversion. The negative of an image with the gray levels in the range 0 to L minus 1, where L indicates number of intensity level. We know that capital L equal to 2 power k. 2 power k, capital L equal to 2 power k. K is the number of bits that are used to represent an image. Okay. So if L equal to number of intensity levels, then the negative transformation can be obtained using the equation S equal to capital L minus 1 minus R. Capital L minus 1 minus R. In this equation, you try to understand the terms first. Small s is the intensity levels of your output image. Small r is the intensity levels which are present in the input image. Then what about the capital L? Capital L is the number of intensity levels. From where we are getting this number of intensity levels, we have a range of the intensity levels of a given image 0 to L minus 1. So in each case, we need to identify first what is the value of R. After that, what is the value of capital L. Okay. Once if we are able to identify what is the value of capital L and capital R, so capital L and small r, then we can able to find out the value of S. For example, let us consider this image f of x comma y equal to 1. First row will be 1, 2, 3, and second row 0, 1, 1. Third row is 2, 2, 3. So if you observe this image f of x comma y, so why I am saying this one as an image, we know that the image can be represented as a matrix. So this is one of the matrix. We know matrix will be consisting of rows and columns. You can treat this one as a rows and column. 3 rows are there and 3 columns are there. And the intensity values will present pixels. Every pixel will have some intensity value, and these are the intensity value, right? So first row 1, 2, 3, and second row 0, 1, 1, third row 2, 2, 3. In this image, for the image, first you need to identify what is the value of capital L. So in order to identify what is the value of capital L, that is the number of intensity levels. What is the highest intensity level in the given image? The highest intensity level in the given image is 3. Okay, the highest intensity level in the given image is 3. So if it is 3, we have a gray level range 0 to L minus 1 range. 3 will be present from 0 to 3. 0 to 3. How we will get 0 to 3? 0 to 3 is nothing but 4 levels. 4 levels means 2 power 2. 2-bit image. Okay? 2 power 2 means 2-bit image. So L equal to 2 power 2. That is L equal to 2 power 2, which is equal to 4. L equal to 4 means the range will be 0 to 4 minus 1. 0 to 4 minus 1 means 0, 1, 2, 3. So with this image, we can easily identify the value of L as a 4. Okay. So because if it is L equal to 4, then only all pixel values will be lies within the range 0 to L minus 1. So if you take first row, 1, 2, 3, they are lies in the range 0 to L minus 1 if L equal to 4. 0, 1, 1. If L equal to 4, all values are lies in 0 to L minus 1. 2, 2, 3, third row. All values are lies within the range 0 to L minus 1 if L equal to 4. So like that, you need to identify the value of L. And this image consisting of 3 rows and 3 columns, that is, it's a binary image. Okay, and our size 3 by 3 with L equal to 2 power 2, which is equal to 4 number of gray levels. And the 4 number of gray levels will be 0, 1 gray level, 1 is 1 gray level, 2 is another gray level, 3 is another gray level. Totally 4 gray levels are there, and these 4 gray levels are present in the range 0 to L minus 1. So this is our conclusion. Okay. Now with this information, we will try to compute what is the negative of an image. Okay, see this. The negative of the given above image will be g of x equal to 2, 1, 0, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 0. So how we are getting these values? For example, so this is the negative of an image 2. How we are getting this 2? We will go for this one. This is the actual given one. As per the formula, s equal to L. What is the L value? 4. 4 minus 1, 3. Minus R. What is the R value? 1. So 4 minus 1 minus 1. Its value is 2. Now, in the first row, second element we will try to calculate. Second element means in the first row, second element in the input image is R, small r. Capital L is 4, minus 1, minus small r value 2. So 4 minus 1 minus 2 will be 1. So second element will be 1. Okay. For example, we will try to calculate the second row first element. What is the negative of the second row first element? So in second row first element, the R value is 1. Sorry, 0. The R value is 0. First element is 0. R value is 0. So formula is L minus 1 minus R. L minus 1 minus 0. L minus 1 value is L is 4 minus 1, totally 3. So the first value of second row will be 3. Okay. Similarly, you can calculate the negative of another image. It is an 8-bit image, and for this 8-bit image, you need to identify first of all what is the value of L. Okay. So if L equal to 256, you can see the range. L equal to 2 power 2. 2 power 2 means 4 above 4. L equal to 2 power 5 above 5 only. 2 power 8, 256. If it is 256, all values are lies inside the 250. 250 means 256. 250 is present in between 0 to 256. So K value we need to consider as 8. So totally L value equal to 256. Okay. So L equal to 256. Small r values are given. Small r values are given. L value is there. You can compute the S value. S values are 133, 105, 55, 30, 30, 30, 5, 5, 15. So like that you can calculate the negative of an image. You can see. So these are the X-ray images of two hands. When we compute the negative of this, what will happen? Dark means black. Black will become white and white will become black whenever we take a negative of an image. So the negative transform is suitable for enhancing the white or gray details embedded in the dark regions of an image, especially when the black areas are dominant in the size. Okay. Next, coming to the log transformation. The log transformation can be performed with the following equation: S equal to C into log of 1 plus R. Small r is the input intensity level, and C is the constant value, and S is the number of output gray levels. With this formula, we can compute the log transformation. Log transformation curves maps narrow range of low gray level values into an input image into wide range of output pixels. So narrow range of input gray levels into wide range of output gray levels. It converts. So used to expand the values of dark pixels in an image while compressing the higher level values, mainly used for compressing the dynamic range of an image with larger variations in the pixel value. You can see there are different log transformation curve. This is one log transformation curve, okay, and the inverse log transformation curve is for opposite to this one, okay. So to opposite to this one. So log transform directly we can perform with this equation S equal to C into log of 1 plus R. Power law transformation S equal to C into R power gamma. S equal to C into R power gamma. Okay. Or we can also define like this: S equal to C into R plus epsilon power gamma. So R, C, gamma, epsilon all are constant value, positive constant value. R is input gray levels. S is output gray level of an image G of X comma Y. Generally, power law transformation maps a narrow range of dark input pixel values into a wide range of output pixel values. And at the same time, wide range of input pixel values into a narrow range of output pixel values also. Here, gamma is the term that is used. Gamma is used to describe the non-linearity of this power law transformation curves. These power law transformation curves are non-linear transformation curves. That non-linearity of the power law transformation curves will be defined by this gamma. So by varying the gamma, we will get the family of power law transformation curves. So S equal to C into R power gamma. For this, these are the family of power law transformation curves. See, for gamma equal to 0.04. For gamma equal to 1, we are getting the straight line, that is a linear line. So gamma equal to 1.5. These are all the power law transformation curves for various values of gamma. Okay. Power law transform is mainly used for gamma correction, contrast manipulation. It can find the applications in the image capture, printing, and the displays. Generally, what are the displays we are using as some monitors. So in that monitors, we can use this gamma correction. That is power law transformations are used. So what is this gamma correction? Gamma correction, or often simply we can say gamma, is the name of the nonlinear operation used to encode and decode the luminance and tri-stimulus values in the video or still image system. Gamma correction is the simplest case defined by the power law expression, that is S equal to C into R power gamma. The gamma value less than 1, sometimes called encoding gamma, and the process of encoding with this compressive power law nonlinearity is called gamma compression. Conversely, a gamma value gamma greater than 1 is called decoding gamma, and the applications of the expansive power law nonlinearity is called gamma expansion. So gamma less than 1 means it is a compression. Gamma greater than 1 means it is a expansion. Okay, you can see here it's the original image. So when we apply this original image to the monitor directly, the image will be looking like a dark. After performing the gamma correction, if we apply to the monitor means it is looking like a somewhat bright. Okay, so this is because of performing the gamma correction. Variety of devices used for image capture, printing, display, response according to the power law. The process used to correct this power law response into the nonlinear phenomena is called gamma correction. Display devices do not respond linearly to the different intensities can be corrected using power law transformation into gamma correction. So you see here, generally S equal to 0, R power 0.6 means gamma value 0.6. Yes, gamma value 0.4, gamma value 0.3. So here the first image is very much darkened. We may not able to identify the break of this spine, okay, spinal cord, human spinal cord. So here is a breaking of this spinal cord with 0.6 gamma. We can able to identify. Okay? And here is a breaking of spinal cord. So in the first image, we may not able to find out. After gamma correction only, we can able to find out it because it is first image that contain dark pixels, more number of dark pixels. So here we can find out the breaking of the spinal cord. Okay, and now you can examine the first image. Here gamma is 2, and gamma is 1/2, gamma is 1/4, gamma equal to 1. That is the original image. Okay, and when gamma equal to 1/3, you can see the darken will be brighter. Okay, so what are the dark pixels? Dark pixels will become brighter when we perform the gamma correction, so that we can able to get the clear enhancement, and we can able to see the details which are present in the image directly. Okay. Next, coming to the contrast stretching. Contrast stretching is a piecewise linear function used to manipulate the contrast of an image. Low contrast images can be a result from the poor illumination. That is because of the lightning condition of outside lightning condition when we are capturing the image. Lack of dynamic range in the image sensor because of the quality of the image sensors, and even due to the wrong setting of lens whenever we are capturing during the image acquisition process. So the idea behind the contrast stretching is to increase the dynamic range of the gray levels and the image being processed. Okay. So this is actually called as a contrast stretching transformation curve. In this contrast stretching transformation curve, we have 3 points: R1, S1, that is 1 point; R2, S2, another point. If R1 equal to R2, S1 equal to S2, this curve will become a straight line. Okay. So the typical contrast stretching transformation curve is shown here. The locations of the points R1, S1, and R2, S2 controls the shape of this transformation curve. And when R1 equal to S1, R2 equal to S2, the curve will become linear transformation and produces no change in the intensity levels. And whenever R1 equal to R2, S1 equal to 0, and S2 equal to L-1, the transformation curve produces a thresholding function. So that means it produces a binary image. And next, when R1 equal to R2, that is equal to mean value of the gray level, then it produces a binary image. When R1 S1, which is equal to R minimum comma 0, and R2 S2, which is equal to R maximum comma L-1, it produces a contrast structured image. You can see here 3 images are given. First image is a low contrast image. After performing the contrast stretching, so the quality of the image is improved. And second one is a binary image, that is due to thresholding. That is because of R1 equal to R2, S1 equal to 0, and S2 equal to L-1. Okay. So first one is a low contrast image. After performing the contrast stretching, we are getting the contrast stretched image. So that is the middle image. The last one is, that is because of the thresholding. So thresholding is the condition when R1 equal to S2, so R1 equal to R2, S1 equal to 0, and S2 equal to L-1 in case of contrast stretching transformation curve. So generally thresholding. So what is the thresholding function? Thresholding function can be defined like this: g of x comma y, which is equal to 0 for f of x comma y less than some t. So t is a user defined threshold value, and the value of g of x comma y will be L-1 otherwise. So with this equation, we can compute the threshold. Here, what is g? G is the output image, and f is the input image. So output image can be obtained from the input image by taking some user defined threshold value. So generally, this threshold is a limiting case of contrast stretching. It produces a 2-level image. So once if the contrast stitching produces a two-level image, the contrast stitching will be known as a thresholding function. Okay. Here you can see the first X-ray of two hands, the first image. So whenever we are performing the thresholding on this first image, you will get two hands like this, consisting of white and black only. Okay. Now here is a problem to find a threshold value. So input image is given as a first row 2, 2, 2, 1, and the second row will be 1, 1, 2, and third row 1, 1, 2. The threshold is given as a t, that is 3. So now we will compare each pixel. So given threshold is greater than the first pixel 2. So given threshold is, so what is the condition here for f of x comma y is less than t. So our pixel f of x comma y first row 2 is less than 3. So 0. Second pixel in the first row 2, which is less than 3. Less than 3 means the first case 0. 0. So all values will become 0. So this is our threshold image. Okay. So in the next class, we will try to finish the remaining point processing techniques. Okay. Thank you.